Sometimes realize there's no way.
You have tuned into Breaking the Mask of Depression with your host, Diva with Depression.
Just waiting back.
Thank you for tuning in to Breaking the Mask of Depression with me, your host, the Diva with Depression. How's it going, guys? The pollen has taken over the world. Green stuff everywhere. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So if you hear me sneeze during the show, just say gesundheit, because listen, you know, down in the South, there's pollen all over the place. Even in the house, you can't avoid it. So the world is going deeper and deeper into hell. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm trying to not talk about it because it'll get all of us upset. And my mental health is already in the toilet anyway. So I don't want to upset you guys. But I just want to make sure that you're taking care of yourselves and you're taking care of your people. Because what is we going to do, y'all? And listen, I'm going to throw this in here. We have to start, and I was trying not to be the conspiracy person, but we got to start buying the beans and the rice and the tuna and stuff. But I was trying not to be that person, y'all. And the gizzards and the, you know, just squirrel away a little bit of stuff. Because you know how we do. We can cook it up. But get the beans and the rice and the tuna and the chicken breast, the cans and stuff. Just keep it there, you know, just in case. Because I don't know what the fuck they're doing, y'all. So that's my 2 cents for the day. So y'all know how I always talk about my experience with corporate America, AKA hell on wheels, and how it affected my mental health. As a matter of fact, the bullshit that I went through there jump-started this platform. So today, my beautiful guest is a powerhouse when it comes to that subject. And so the first time that I met her, other than her regal, her regal poise, as soon as she told me what her podcast and her platform was about, I was like, "You're on my show." So, guys, welcome Nicole Palmer.
Thank you.
Hey. Thank you so much for coming on. And it's true. As soon as you said it, did I give you a chance to even answer?
I think it was pretty immediate as soon as the words got out of my mouth. You're coming on the show.
I mean, I'll let you introduce yourself first.
Yes. So thank you so much, Dee Dee, for having me on here. My name is Nicole S. Palmer. I am a lot, but I'm gonna tell you the main things that matter, that I think matter at the moment. So I am a best-selling author, which is wild, of the book called Playing the Game While Black Women in Corporate America, which inspired the podcast that Dee Dee was referring to, which is called Black Womaning in Corporate America. And it is unfiltered, it is raw, it is all about our experiences as Black women going through the gauntlet, is what I call it. That is corporate America. and all of our experiences are the same. And the podcast started in December of last year, and it's been resonating a lot, a lot. And you always kind of wonder and think, you know, I can't be the only one.
No.
And then you start actually hearing from people saying, "Oh my gosh, yes, me too."
Yes.
And, you know, then we realize that all of us as Black women, and I've said this before, is we all know the lyrics to the song. So one of us starts the song and everybody can join in because we all know the song.
Mm-hmm.
We all lived it. So, it's just, I've really just been out here trying to actually use these gifts since my hellhole of a job that I left behind that shall not be named. And just really trying to help as many Black women as possible, hopefully avoid or get out of what they're in currently.
Yeah, it's a horrible place to be. Is absolutely a horrible place to be. There are two women that I follow on Threads, and
Mhm.
every day I think they started out with just one day, just telling a story about something that happened that day, and
Yeah.
turned into a chronicle, like a series of, everyday things, and it's just unbelievable. Like, why must we go through this? We're just trying to provide for our families.
Right.
Why do we have to go through the extra shit? You know?
Would that I knew, but I think it all boils down to, unfortunately, systemic racism. And also because I do believe that corporate America was never designed with us in mind. We were never supposed to be in corporate America. So it's almost like corporate America saying, what are y'all doing here?
Exactly.
And treating us accordingly. So,
Exactly.
yeah, that's really what it boils down to.
So what did you do in corporate America before?
Yeah, so I did a couple of things. My last role was it was a leadership role that I was in, and before I made the famous exit that I made, I was in a leadership role. I had a team. I was working at this organization for over 10 years. I would have hit my 11th anniversary had I stayed that same year that I left. And I loved my job. And I think that's the misconception that people think like, oh, you hated everything about it. It was soul sucking and all these things. No, most of us believe in the mission. And
Right.
I think that's what makes it so dangerous, and that's what makes it hard to leave
Right.
because we are in too deep. We're so invested,
Right.
and so we want to make it work. And so we stay and we try and we finagle, but it just doesn't. And so I was in this role, and I advanced over time. Obviously, I started off individual contributor. I was doing my
Mhm.
little thing, and then I just progressively, did higher, more advanced roles. And my last role was a leadership role, and I loved it. It was for a local nonprofit where I live, and I loved the team that I worked with, loved the individuals that we supported because we had a lot of external stakeholders, and they loved me back for the most part until they didn't. I mean, we all know how it goes. Like it starts off one way, and then it takes a sharp
Exactly.
left,
Yeah.
and by the time it takes a sharp left, you're like, "What just happened?" So that's yeah. And so like I said, I love my job. I thought I was going to retire from there. Like I saw it. I had this 5-year plan. I had a 10-year plan, and like this, year three, I'm gonna be here, and then I'm gonna be here, and you map it out. That's what we do, right?
Yeah.
And so I had all these ideas of what I thought my supposed professional life was going to look like, and it did not turn out that way. And I don't know how, like, I can keep like I don't want to jump the gun in terms of what had happened and where it went left, but it went left quick, and it was unfortunate because it just took one person that really just made it everything fall apart, and people think that it's usually like, oh no, it was always this. It wasn't always that. I
Right.
went through a bunch of different, like I was a constant. My bosses came and went. I was still there. And so it just took one person that just was just very, not just, it wasn't even toxic. That's what's dangerous, is because people think that toxic bosses all look the same. They think
Right.
that they're loud, they yell, they scream, this is the picture that they have. You know what the worst toxic bosses are?
It's that smile.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Or the ones with the silver tongue is what I call it. And so you buy into them because you're like, oh my goodness, they have similar vision as me, and I
Hmm.
believe in the work, and then you're 100% all in. And by the time you realize you done fell into the trap,
That's it.
it is too late.
Yep.
Like you don't even know you're in danger because like you done bypass you in danger, girl, to like
Yep.
you in the pit. And that's literally what happened to me. And I've had the bosses that you can see coming that are away, and you know how they get down. And so like, okay, you can clock it and you're good.
Right.
But the way it happened for me was it was a new supervisor that came in, or a new boss that came in. And to me, like there's a very big difference between a manager or people leader and a boss. To me,
Right.
very big difference. And we're not gonna get into we don't have time to get into that
Right.
today. So the way that that happened was there was a huge shift in our department, like a reorg or whatever. And then everybody just knew it was going to be me that was going to lead the reins because it just seemed obvious to
Right.
the fly man on the moon. I was doing all the work and I was even recommended. And that's not what had happened. What had happened is what they typically do is where they have the Black woman as the workforce doing all of the foundational stuff, keeping everything together, being the glue. Then they bring the non-Black one over top to do what?
Of
Train
course.
them for you to be the wind beneath their wings. And
Of
that's
course.
literally what happened. And I was devastated because I felt the way because it seemed to me, well, who else would it be?
Right.
And to bring somebody in from a different department didn't have the experience that I had to then turn around and train was it was tough.
Pissed me off.
It was let's just say it was tough.
Yeah.
And it was hard to kind of grapple with, and I think it was worse because I learned that I was recommended and then was rejected. Like and of course you're not supposed to know these things, but the walls talk.
Yeah. Yeah. You find out.
Spreads, right? And so that was, I think, a very, it was harsh for me, but here's where I mean with toxicity, when it is masked as something else, is the most dangerous of all. Is because I was still led to believe that we still believe in you. You just need to, like, as and a matter of fact, we believe in you so much, there's nothing left for you to do. It's up to us. Because I asked, what do I need to? Okay, so y'all not gonna give me. Okay, so we're not doing this. So now, how do we get me to the next step then?
Right.
Clearly, you trusted me enough to now support this new individual, right? There's nothing left for you to do. It is up to us. Everybody told me that, and I fell for it. I fell for the okie doke. And not only did I fall for the okie doke, then the person who was mentoring me at the time was the person who brought this new individual in. And I trusted her. I 100% trusted her. And so in my mind, I said, well, if you trust her, then I trust her.
I trust her.
And boy, was that like single handedly, when I look back and play back the tape, I was like, girl, you was dumb. Like, that was not you at all. That is not even how you move. What were you thinking? And but I did, and so I drank the Kool-Aid, 100% drank the Kool-Aid. And I was like, whatever you need, I'm here. And that's where it got really dangerous because I trusted her. So whatever she asked for, including tell me about the people in the department, tell me about the lay of the land. Absolutely. Yeah, I did. I told it.
What?
Yes. And you look back, of course, you see what I'm saying? You look back like that. Why would you do? Who does that? Especially as a Black person, especially as a Black woman who we are suspicious of everything. But I believe that much because I had already had this relationship with this other person who was my mentor for years.
Right.
Years. So I had no reason to think that I was being set up for anything.
Yeah.
And ironically, I technically wasn't just yet. When I got set up, when my boss figured out, I know my shit and I might know more than she does. Then it became a problem. And then what happens? Pet to threat. So now I done went from being, oh, you are the rock star, you are this and all this stuff, to now, well, we'll see. Wait, you just told me I didn't have nothing else to do.
Right.
You're doing the rest. How is it we'll see now? And so that's why can I say this? It was the mind fuck for me.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And so it was 100% psychological. And that's what broke me. It was never about the workload.
Right.
Like, even though the workload was insane, to be clear, it was the psychological
bullshit,
nonsense that was happening. That's what really broke me. And it broke me because then I realized I said way too much, which she then used to her own advantage, of course, to gain some ground and gain some favor and all, whatever you want to call it. And then the tables turned on me. So I became the bad guy to the person who supposedly was supposed to be my mentor, who I looked up to. And now suddenly, because I was essentially feeding her information that she could then use to ingratiate herself, I became the bad person. And that's how it flipped. And again, now I was stressed because
Right.
now I couldn't, things were out of my control. I was used to being able to, okay, I know what to do. I just have to make a couple of tweaks and adjustments and I'm good. But by the time it came to a head, and it came to a head because most Black women in the workplace have this, I would call it an affliction, and it means that we are very direct and honest and forthcoming. And so we are not ones to, if somebody says, well, what is your opinion? I mean, we can polish it. We'll polish it for sure,
Polish it up.
but we're not going to say one thing and mean something else. That sometimes, or a lot of times, comes back to haunt us. And that's what happened. I was asked for input on someone, and I didn't agree with the decision that was going to be made with this person. I was very pointed. Here's why this would be a mistake. And that then it was a problem. It was okay when we were like aligned and it was good times and we were having making progress. But the minute that I disagreed, and not only disagreed, because you can have disagreements and move on, but I disagreed
Right.
and insisted.
Right.
Like I was, dug in. I said, no,
Right.
we need to understand why this is not a good idea. Well, and basically then it was like, well, the response was reminded me who was in charge.
Right.
And I was like, oh, okay. So now it's a different story.
Right.
And it went from there, it was all the way downhill.
Wow. And it's just so sad that it's enlightening though, but it's so sad. And it's sad that it's 2025 and we're still dealing with it.
Girl, it's gonna be 3035.
That I have to teach my daughters this. My oldest daughter, like every job she goes to, and she's facing it, and I'm like, I cannot believe that my babies are going through the same bullshit. Like
it's literally, it will never change.
And then it spills over. Like you're the reason why this country is in the bullshit that today would have been 37 years for me at the job that I was at. Hell, I won't even say, I don't ever say the name out loud. And I had my nervous breakdown at work. They had to take me out of work. And it was the same thing. I was an investment analyst and everything was fine and dandy. And then, they brought in this young guy and he was feeling himself and, he was going to start getting rid of the older people,
Of course.
He was trying to take down one of my friends who was a major person in finance.
Right.
And didn't know that I could hear him talking about the person, that sat right out of his office. And then I went from having, just like you said, I went from having all of this work to do and whatever to, add up these spreadsheets for me. And that's not, I was struggling with mental illness outside, personally.
Right.
But then to come in and you have to just go through this crap. And my doctor took me out of work for a month. And then I went back and this man is laughing about it. Like it was funny to him.
Wow.
And then the next time I forgot him and the woman, I think that the woman was from HR. I'm not even sure. Like this is a joke to them. Like I started crying because I was so angry. Like, and like you said, it breaks you. It breaks you.
Yeah.
Like what part of this don't you understand? Now, if you were trying to get, and I know that I found out later that it was a situation where they had to get rid of somebody. And
Yeah.
so I was one of the last two to come into the
Mhm.
department.
Right.
Why not be honest about it?
Right. I
I
think
could
it's almost
transfer to
to,
another area,
I think it's almost to like assuage their guilt behind it, right? So they want to have some justification to do what they do.
or they get notches on their belt. Like, how many Black women could you break
Mm, girl.
and laugh about it? You know? And I we had someone have a heart attack at her and die
Oh my
in
God.
at her desk. And the my doctor at the time,
Yeah.
I was going to her, and 1 week it was vertigo,
Mm,
so she gave me something for that, and then the depression and the stress, and she gave me something for that, and then
yeah.
I go in another day, and she's talking to me, and she asked me where I worked, and I
Mm.
told her, and she said, "Girl, you should have told me that from the beginning. I'd have signed you out a long time ago,
Oh Lord.
and then signed me out for a month." She
Mm.
said that place is a zoo because
See?
the company had just relocated to Charlotte.
Wow.
So, and she said, "Oh no, the
Mm.
ambulance was at the company every day,
Oh my God.
taking people out."
Yeah, you needed to get out. That is
And it was just, we thought we were going for a better life.
yeah.
And
Mhm. Yeah. And I think that's what makes it so painful and so difficult when you look back and like, man, like really, like how can people be that callous? Because, well, really for me, what really led to it was I had up, when we had the disagreement and then when things really came to a head, and I didn't even realize that, and this is when you realize people are human and some humans are not the best humans. And I made a comment and I was just, yes, I was frustrated, but I was just trying to be very pointed and say like, there's just a lack of communication in this team, in this group. And it's definitely the worst I've experienced. And she equated that to say that she was a worse boss than my previous. That's what she interpreted. That's not what I said, but that is how she interpreted it. And as a result, I ended up with a really bad performance rating in retaliation. The first one in my entire career. 10 years. Imagine being there 10 years and being told, going from exceptional, strong, very strong, like that's overachieving Black women. That's what we do. And never having ever sniffed anywhere close to a mostly effective and then ending up with that and not having real clear justification, just just to conjure the reason
right.
why. Oh, well, this happened and you didn't do this, but I didn't have the tools to accomplish what you were asking me to accomplish, right? And so, and then I think the worst part is that when it happened and I tried to appeal it, it went nowhere because they closed ranks. And even the people that I thought would actually advocate for me and support me, nowhere to be found. And then it just made me realize that people are very this, and I think this is what makes it so difficult for us as Black women in corporate America. They're very comfortable believing and buying into all the stereotypes that come with being a Black woman. They are very comfortable and they're almost waiting for you to prove them
Yep.
right. And so it doesn't matter. You can go 50 years, girl, go 50 years, 364 days, and let you on that 365th day be short with them or, just be a little dismissive because maybe you're having a bad day. Maybe you just had something bad happen. And it doesn't erase everything that happened. Those 50 years are gone. You are the worst person since sliced bread. You're unprofessional. You're rude. You're angry. Um, you are all of the things because they are expecting it. So that is why it's so that is why it'll never change because it's ingrained, it's taught. And I saw that happen for me where these same individuals who would support me and celebrate me and enjoy working with me suddenly were comfortable giving me a bad rating when I had
Right.
never shown a history of deserving that bad rating. And it was devastating. It was really devastating. And I think that there's this notion and belief that we don't feel things because
Yeah.
we're so strong and we're
We're so
so
right.
this, and we only have two emotions, right?
Right.
Bravery or anger. Those are the
Right.
only two emotions that Black women can feel.
Right.
And
Right.
so we're not allowed to cry. We're not allowed to be anything else, right? And so they're okay being less human or kind
Right.
because we're not really human anyway.
I like
And,
that. Yeah.
and that's what, and I think that's what was so like, and that's what broke me. It's like I'm not this person. Why would no one speak up for me? Like you guys, because you know how 360 feedback works. You've been in corporate America. You know
Yeah.
that no one person can give a rating to an individual. That's why
Right.
it's 360. That's why there's multiple
That's
people in
right.
the room
That's
to
right.
ensure that it's objective, to ensure that there's no bias.
So that means all of you did this. All of
Okay,
you.
okay, exactly. And then the worst part was to have someone who looked like me, who was in the room and told me after the fact how outraged they like how shocked they were what she was hearing, but didn't say a single damn word in the damn review. Not a single word to advocate for me or to say where's the justification for it. But you're gonna tell me how does that help me after the fact? You're part of the problem. And that's what I talk about in my book. Like this is how during my medical leave I came up with I wrote the entire doggone book when I was on medical leave. Yes. And I was going for it. I definitely maxed out. I maxed out my medical leave. And then when I finally came to grips with the fact that I couldn't go back there, I decided to part ways. But I saw it. I saw all of the things that happened. I saw exactly where we have like rule number 7 to me like was so clear. Like ain't nobody coming to save you.
Right.
Like you have to literally be your own rescue. And that's what I saw every single rule play out. And I look back even beyond that last toxic job, like the ones before that, I saw how it played out in previous. And the one thing that was constant was I was still Black and I was still a woman. And that always colored all of my interactions with corporate America.
Right.
Because these are two things I cannot change.
Right.
Unless I literally go through a process to do it. Like it is not, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I will always be Black and I will always be a woman.
And then if you did change, they discriminate against that too. So.
How about that? Okay. You damned if you do, damned if you don't.
You can't win.
Not at all. And so that's really, to me, what it boils down to is that like there's already been a contract written against us without our consent.
Right.
When it comes to how corporate America treats Black women.
Yeah.
And the only thing we can do is learn how to outsmart the contract. And that's literally the whole point of it. Like that, because I want other women to understand that, yes, it looks very, very discouraging, very dire. There's a way around this. And I'm seeing a lot of Black women talk about it now, especially on the heels of, I wrote this article that I didn't even realize was going to take off the way that it did. And there are so many conversations around it. And it was just released yesterday on HuffPost about thank you. And it was about the unspoken rules we're forced to learn as Black women in corporate America. And it's resonating for so many Black women. But I hear them say, I wish there was a manual. I'm like, y'all, can y'all go get my book? I don't put it out there. Go get the dog. Like I'm trying to tell you. I have walked with before, and I think that not all of us want to leave corporate America, and I get that. And not all of us can. And not everybody wants to be in business for themselves. And there's nothing wrong. There's no shame. There's nothing
wrong with that. That's right.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But here's a tool that's going to help you actually have longevity.
Right.
You can clock things before they even get to that point.
Right.
And then if things are so toxic and so hectic that there's no way through that, then you get out.
That's right.
But I think that we spend a lot of time thinking, and I know I did this for myself, where we think that our work will always outperform the politics and will always outperform the racism. We cannot outperform racism.
Yeah. No.
It is undefeated.
No.
It has been undefeated since this country was founded. It was founded
Right.
on racism.
Yeah.
So there's no outperforming it. And there's no outperforming bias. If people believe what they believe, sure, you can try to turn the tide, and there's definitely things you can do. But when it's ingrained, when it's baked into the system, you got to throw the whole thing out.
And you'll kill yourself trying to
Yes.
outperform
Yeah.
and trying to make friends and trying to, it. There's just there's no way.
No.
I listen to people talk sometimes and read it on social media, and they'll talk about a problem that they're having at work, and people be like, "Oh, we'll go to HR. HR don't work for you.
I'm sorry, that is
It does
hilarious.
not work for you."
Yeah.
And then, something else. I read something else, and they're like, "Oh, we'll go to employee assistance program. They don't
Oh,
work for you
girl,
either.
they don't work for you at all. I
They
found
don't
that
work
out
for
the
you.
hard way.
Don't even go to the nurse's office because she don't
No.
work for you either."
They're there for the employer. It should be called employer assistance program.
Exactly. None of those people work for you.
Mm-mm.
None of them.
They're just there to clock and monitor what employees are disgruntled, what employees are talking about, what they're complaining about, so they can run it up the chain. That's what they do. That's what they do. It is a system.
And I know that it's frustrating and exhausting that we have to think like this, but that's, like you said, it's part of the game that we have to play to
100%.
get where we are. And a lot of times, and I've done it, you talk about when someone gets up, they don't reach down to bring someone up. But we also have the flip side of it is we also have to think about what they're dealing with up there and how hard to reach back.
So here's to your point, which is, I'm so glad you brought it up. So the way that I wrote my book, I structured it around the game of chess. I have not successfully played one single game of chess in my life. Let me be clear. But it is still, I have heard people tell me, I never played chess, and that you broke it down in such a way that it made sense. But in one of the chapters, I actually break down the different opponents or participants that you're going to encounter on the board in corporate America. And one of them I call the Shadow Queen. And that basically is this Black woman in a high leadership position that you look and say, oh my gosh, she is where I want to be. She done arrived. But she's a shadow queen because she doesn't have any real power. She's just a fixture. She's there to look like something that she isn't because she has no real power. She has no real influence. But they done said, ooh, Black woman, diversity, chief equity officer, plop, here you go. But when it comes to it, she cannot affect change because behind closed doors, if she actually is someone who wants to affect change and she presents proposals and solutions, they're going to smile and nod and, okay, sure, we'll revisit, we'll run it up the chain, all the little buzzwords they like to use. But it ain't going nowhere. It's going there to die because they don't actually want to affect change. They just want it to look like they did.
They're doing it, yeah. Yeah.
And so I absolutely agree. In some cases, it's not because she doesn't want to. She literally has no teeth.
Yeah.
She has no power, but there's also that flip side, though, to your point, there are cases where we can reach back. And also, just because you don't have power doesn't mean you don't have wit,
resources, insight.
Right. Okay. Exactly. You can find ways around it. And I even talk about that in the book because one of the rules that I came up with was there can only be one, where we have this infighting among ourselves, especially among Black women, where we're competing because okay, there's only the one seat at the table, so we're playing musical chairs. It's like, which one of us is gonna get that chair? It's gonna be me. And if I gotta shove you, if I gotta kick you, whatever I gotta do, I'm gonna get in that chair. But what I talk about is like, yes, there might only be one chair because they're trying to create that scarcity mindset. You can multiply that. get your behind in the door, but then stick your foot in the door jamb and crack it open, leave it open for somebody so
Right.
that they can get in there too.
Right.
So I think we just have to change our mindset. I don't think it's utterly hopeless in corporate America, although I am trying to get out permanently. But that doesn't mean there isn't hope. There's some good companies out there. I call them unicorns personally because they're not a dime a dozen. They're very rare.
Yeah.
Okay, they might as well be a unicorn.
Yeah.
So they're out there, but also even in those places that are hostile, that aren't necessarily, you know, don't have your best interest, you can still succeed there. You just have to be deliberate and intentional and strategic with it. You can't just go in there and be like, I'm just gonna hope for the best,
Right.
or I'm just gonna keep my head down because that'll get you in trouble too. And so you just have to go in there with your eyes wide open. And if we could do that as Black women, we could do some serious damage in there.
Right.
Really could.
So you said you wrote the book on medical leave. So is that what you did? You didn't quit. You just went out on medical leave.
Yeah, I thought I was going back, to be clear. Like, so it wasn't like, oh, I'm just gonna play y'all and string y'all along. I believed in my mind I was going back. I was
Really?
certain of it. I thought I just need about 2 weeks. I just need to bounce back. I ain't had a vacation in a long time. I'm just tired and I just need a reset. And so I thought, yeah, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a week, I'll be all right. And that's what I believed. And then a week turned into 2 weeks and into a month and into 2 months. And I was like, oh, because I still needed a lot of intervention. So I actually had to go and do a treatment, like I was in therapy. And they were, also trying to make sure there wasn't any health issues going on. So it was a whole experience. And I remember the book idea came to me because one of the things I did, I would go for walks in the morning just to kind of clear my head and start my day because I knew I was like, okay, there's all these things I have to get done during that time frame. And so I was going for a walk one day and I was like, these people they don't even care about me. It's just a joke to them. Like, this is like, and I literally was like arguing with myself. I'm like, this is a game to them.
Yeah.
And then I heard it just as like, yeah, it is a game. You're right. And you haven't been playing it like you should be playing it. And that's why you got played. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. And so I came up with the idea for the book, Playing the Game While Black Women Go From There. I came up actually, it's a series to be clear. So there are multiple books that are going to be based around this whole thing, and they all came to me on my walk. I was like, I got to get to write.
That's awesome. But listen, I mean, it's great that you were in the frame of mind that you could think of that and you weren't thinking about yourself really because something like this
Oh,
is going to save lives really and
yeah.
think about that like I'm a testament to
Mm.
it could take you down
Yeah. Oh
living
no,
in condition
100%.
working in condition
100%. Yeah.
and so I think it's phenomenal and I think it's awesome like I said you're out trying to take care of yourself because you've gone through it, but you thought of something to really help us. And I think that's wonderful.
And to your point, and what's the gag on that is that I wasn't really ready to face me and to deal with like the work that I needed to do. So I spent those like first couple of weeks, I was in denial. So I went through the motions, like I just had to power through, like I just had to shake it off. Like that's what we,
Right.
like we just got to shake it off and we'll be okay. And so for the longest time as I was going, like I was very resistant. And I was like, well, this is this doesn't relate to me because I don't have these type of problems. Like I just got a little overwhelmed and it's fine. But I had deep depression. Like I had very deep depression that I struggled with and that I fought through. And there were days that I did not know if I was gonna make it. I just didn't. And it was like I was in such a dark place. And even leading up to the medical leave, I had those moments where because of everything that was happening and because it was like, no, it's just in your head because they had all made an agreement
Right.
This is how we are going to conduct ourselves from now on. And I had no one to turn to. And so, like, then, the inevitable paranoia sets in because, like, who do you turn to? You can, because there's nobody there to turn to. And so people think it's like, oh, it's in your head. It isn't in your head. It's psychological warfare that happens when you have no one that you can trust in the place that you have to spend at least 8 hours a day.
It's dangerous.
It's extremely dangerous. And I had a hard time even just telling, even owning up to my husband, like even just admitting that, like, because I didn't want him to think he had failed me, somehow, because I couldn't fight this off, because it was just like a shadow that I couldn't shake. You can't fight a shadow.
Right. Yeah.
It's there. And I struggled with it for so long, and I finally had to come to a point where I had to recognize that, I've got some deep seated issues that I need to work through. And also the fact that I was 100% traumatized by my job, and I wasn't even willing to admit it until my doctor diagnosed with PTSD from my job. And that hit me in a way I wasn't expecting, because I'm like, I am not a soldier. What do I look like having PTSD? But that's what it was. And that's when I actually had to face it and recognize, like, I have some work to do, because I can't even let go of the abuser. I'm still trying to make excuses. I'm still trying, but like, I would argue with my therapist and try to justify, well, no, actually, like, you don't understand the one like I do.
Stockholm syndrome. That's
girl, a hole. And then she told me I had attachment disorder. I'm like, attachment disorder? I'm like, how rude. Like, wait, like, really? But yes, she was right on all of the fronts. And it was just, I think, peeling back those curtains and, like, actually sitting with that truth took me a while. And so the book was an escape for me. Writing that book, and it was like a dual purpose. Like, I know it was going to help somebody, but it also, in a lot of ways, allowed me to take my mind off myself. And I think I needed that. So it was just as much of a blessing for me as I hope it will be for others. And from what I've, from those who have read it and who actually reached out to me, they're telling me the same thing. You wrote my whole life in your book. Like, you saw me. I'm like, and yet we are just meeting because of the book. We have never met before, and you're telling me that I told your story. Because again, we all have the same song. Every last one of us, we have all been through it before on some shape or form, because we're all one, unfortunately, in the sense that we're all treated the same. Not because we're all the same, it's because we are all treated the same. We're all painted with the same brush. And I think that's one of the things I talk about. When we realize collectively as Black women that we are not going to get out of this if we don't do it together, that's when the movement begins. Because right now it's still pockets. Right now there's still too many of us that are like, I'm out to get mine. I got to worry about me first. I don't have to worry about you. And until we, as a whole, and I do think that it starts with Black women first. And I know as a community, we do need to do that.
Always.
I think when Black women really come together, when that 8% that didn't vote, when it becomes 100%, that's when we can do something. That's when the change will really happen. And I'm still holding out hope for us. I still believe we can do that. But until we all realize that this is a group project, and it is a group project, we are all in, whether we want to be in it or not.
Right.
Until we all realize that and actually decide we're gonna, okay, I'm ready to do my part, this is gonna stay the way that it is.
And that everybody will benefit from it.
Mm-hmm. I hope we can get there. I'm still holding out hope. I'm cautious. I'm like a hopeless optimist when it comes to that. Because I just feel like we Black women are amazing. Like, look,
we are.
I'm preaching to the choir, but the things that we endure, like, I mean, I look back at, like, the things, like, I look back over my life, I'm like, how am I still alive? Let's ask that question. Because seriously, like, there are so many times. I mean, we can probably write books individually. All of the
Exactly.
times I should not be here. All of the times that I should not be here and fill an entire book, probably an entire encyclopedia volume. And it's just, we are walking miracles. And then to top that, and then to go into a workplace that is so hostile that, you know, just because we exist in
Just for
this skin,
existing.
we automatically have these strikes against us. It's just, we are wonders.
Yeah.
We really are. And I wish we would just realize that we would be even more wonderful together.
Yeah.
Like,
I was someone asked me to be on their podcast, and she asked me what was my testimony.
mm,
And when somebody asks you that, you start thinking of what you're going to say.
yeah.
And I just type back, I'm here. That's
Yes.
it.
The
Period.
end.
Period.
Amen.
I'm here.
Okay. I'm telling you that we can it I think people really don't just underestimate what it takes on any given day. On any given day. It just I'm telling you, like, it really we are literally a walking testimony every moment that we are on this earth. And I think that we just need to realize that we can do so much more together.
Yeah.
And that's what I want for us. And even though I mean, I see you're on social media, you know how we get down.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know that there's like the mean girls, there's the book, like it is all of the things.
It's awful.
It's really unfortunate. And I think that's what makes it even sadder is because uh, why just America or just the what I call the global minority, because there's way more of us than there are of them. Let's be clear about that. But I think especially in America, they understand they don't need to actually set us up any kind of way.
Yeah.
We do it to each other. All they got to do is just sit back and let the infighting begin.
Yeah.
And it's so sad. And I think we just have there's way too many bigger issues. There's way too many of us dying from preventable conditions.
Yeah.
We are focused on the wrong doggone thing than focusing on how many followers we got, or, well, no, they're not big enough for me to give them the time of day and they're just reaching out. Like, forest for the trees. It just, we are missing the entire point. And it makes me so sad, but I have to believe that it's going to get better. I think we have to, like, the alternative is too dire. And I got enough stuff that makes me sad. This can't be something else that I'm like, oh man, we're not gonna make it, are we?
Well, this is going to help. So tell us the details about the book and the podcast and where to find it and when's the release date. Tell us everything.
Yes. So the book, Playing the Game While Black Women in Corporate America, the ebook is already out. And also it's an audiobook. So you can get that from Audible, you can get it from Amazon. It's in a lot of places. You can probably do a search on Google and it'll show you all the places where it is. The one that I'm most excited about, though, 11 Labs has it available, and you can actually have it narrated by Dr. Maya Angelou, girl.
Ooh.
Yes. And that is free. 11 Labs. So the number 11, but it's spelled out, and Labs, Labs. But I'll definitely provide you the link. Okay. And so, of course, as soon as I find out that you can, make your book available and they'll actually convert it into audiobook. Okay. And what was awesome about it is, like, this is the real Maya Angelou. The estate of Dr. Angelou actually loaned her voice. And so they actually were able to synthesize her voice. And so now you can actually take your book and have her narrate it. And I was like, okay, say less.
That's awesome.
Yes. And so I did, and I'm listening to it again just to hear her say, and when I tell you I have chills, like, I'm like, you can't tell me nothing. Okay. My book narrated by Dr. Angelou. Come on now.
That's awesome.
Yes. And so that is available. And also the paperback and the hardback, they come out June 21st. So I'll, make an announcement, of course. But if you want to keep abreast of all of the going ons, you can find me on LinkedIn. That's typically where I hang out. And so my LinkedIn handle is just my full name, Nicole S. Palmer. So S like Sam. And you can find me on LinkedIn, but you can find me, hey, if you want to go to my website, NicoleSPalmer.com, you can also get a lot of good information there. But I'm trying to shake some stuff up, okay? That is my plan. So definitely reach out. And also the podcast, Black Women in Corporate America, that is available everywhere. So it is on Spotify, it is on Apple, Audible, all of the places, and also on YouTube. So, and I am now on camera, which was, whew, that was a journey, but there I am with all my facial expressions. I'm like, take it or leave it, but I think it makes it entertaining. So
I haven't done it yet. And then I keep saying that every week I say I'm going to do it and I haven't done it yet.
I'm telling you, it gets better. So what you'll find the very first time you go on camera, this was my experience. I hated it. I hated everything about how I looked, and I just sat there picking myself apart. And then I did it the second time, still hated it, but I didn't pick myself apart as much. And then by the third and fourth time, I started seeing myself how other people see me. And so you actually start looking at your reflection as how people see you. And I don't know how to explain that. It's almost like it almost flips. So it's almost like you're looking at yourself as a viewer rather than as yourself. And you realize, man, I'm pretty damn beautiful. That's what you'll see. That's what I found.
It's the same with the voice. Like
Yeah.
and because I sound like Mickey Mouse. That's how I feel. Like I have a squeaky voice. So when my brother first said to start the podcast, I was like, you have got to be out of your mind. Like nobody is listening to this voice for 45 minutes. And so I did. I picked my voice, whatever.
Yeah.
And after a while, it was like, well, they're not tuning in for your voice. That's not what they're paying attention to. So,
it's the message. And also, I will say, but again, we're our worst critics, right? And so to you, you're like, oh my gosh, your voice sounds like a regular voice.
Yeah.
I thought my voice, like, oh my God, I sound annoying. But I sound like a normal person. That's what I sound like. And you don't feel, and the other thing that also helped me is when I think about the fact that a podcast is having a conversation, right? And so when you're having a regular conversation with anyone, you're not like, oh my God, what do they think about my voice? Do they think my voice sounds weird as I'm talking to them? No, you don't think about that. So it's the same thing. Like, I'm not thinking about tune in or don't tune in, but I know I have something to share, right? And I know that it's going to benefit and it's going to touch the people that it needs to touch.
Right.
And so once we get out of our own way and stop with our insecurities and all the things that we tell ourselves of why we shouldn't, that's where the magic happens. So just you gotta the more you do it, the more comfortable you get. It's definitely like it's very much practice. And sometimes I'm still like, but I'm like, oh well. I'm like, when I make weird faces and I'm talking to someone face to face, they're not like, ooh, what was that? They're just like, I'm just being a human. And that's really what it is. And I think that's what people connect to. People are not, I think especially now, people are looking for authenticity.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of that going around.
Yeah.
So that's what people are craving right now. And so it's not about, oh, I need to look a certain way. I need to be polished. I need to be prim and all these. No, it's just be yourself.
Just be
That's
yourself.
what people want. People need that. We need more of that. We need more authenticity because that is what people are craving, authenticity and connections. Okay.
Well, we got that with you.
Oh,
I thank you so much. I thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Listen, this is an amazing topic. I'm so excited. I'm going to listen to the book over the weekend. I'm going
to and I will definitely send you the link. I'm telling you, once you go Dr. Maya Angelou, you won't go back. It just can't. It just completely changes. Like it changed my whole entire life, and I'd already listened to it. But I'm like, wow. I'm like, girl, say that again.
Well, just the subject alone, and I want to thank you as a Black woman that suffered through corporate America for writing it, and giving us something to think about and giving us some protection, hopefully. But thank you for coming on. I know that you're going to send me all the information. Yes. So guys, don't worry. I'm going to have all the information on the website and on the podcast notes. So you'll find it there. So I am a baker. So I started asking my guests at the end of the show, what's your favorite dessert?
Oh, that is a really good one. Okay. So I'm gonna have to go with my roots and go with black cake. So that is Jamaican black cake.
Jamaican black cake.
Of course.
Really?
But I have like dietary restrictions, so I gotta make it gluten-free and dairy-free. It still hits. It still hits. Yeah, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference the way that I do it. But yeah, black cake for sure is definitely like number one.
Okay. Well, Nicole, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
And good luck with the book and good luck with everything. And we'll talk to you soon. Guys, please, please, please stay safe, stay whole, and stay peaceful. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye.
So